viewers, welcome to VMesh. Now today onwards in our channel we are going to start off with the topic of income tax, which is going to be taught by ma'am.
Hello everyone, I am Shabana Vikhar. I am going to discuss provisions relating to Income Tax Act 1961. Now, but before discussing the provisions of Income Tax Act 1961, I would like to tell you that income tax is regarded as a very interesting paper, but it is also regarded as very difficult paper also. Why do we say that it is difficult paper? Because here each and every term plays very important role. Now, if you have mentioned and instead of or, then entire provision will be wrong. So you should be very careful about each and every word given under Income Tax Act. Now this is very interesting paper. If you people are regular, you are very serious, then it is regarded as a very interesting paper.
So like you all have heard from ma'am that income tax is a really interesting paper. So please stay tuned and view all the lectures which is going to be given by ma'am. And do remember one thing, income tax is not that tough. It is just matter of situation whether we are able to pick up a particular point or not. So if you are aware of all the provisions which are laid down in the act, then in that case there won't be any kind of problem. So let us start off with the discussion of topics.
As I told you just now that income tax is regarded as a very difficult paper, but you will find my sessions as very interesting and they are not so technical. I will tell you about income tax in very simple words. So my method of teaching is very simple. So before discussing various concepts of income tax, I would like to tell you that we are having Income Tax Act 1961, which came into force with effect from 1st April 1962. Now income tax is applicable to the entire India, including the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Now income tax is collected by the central government on behalf of various states. Now there are two types of taxes. All of you are familiar that you are having direct taxes as well as indirect taxes. So income tax is an example of direct tax. Now what is the difference between direct tax and indirect tax? If it is direct tax, the burden of tax is directly upon the person who pays the tax. And in case of an indirect tax, the burden of tax has been transferred from payee to some other person. For example, GST is an example of an indirect tax where the burden of tax has been transferred from the seller to the purchaser. So that is why it is regarded as an example of an indirect tax. Customs law is also regarded as an indirect tax, whereas income tax is an example of direct tax. So this is the introductory portion of income tax. Now let us take the various concepts of Income Tax Act and basic concepts. They are given under section 2. Most of the basic concepts of income tax, they are given under section 2. So until and unless we are familiar with these basic concepts, we are not able to understand the terms given under Income Tax Act. So let us start with the first basic concept of Income Tax Act. Let us first start the basic concept. And first one is SSC. So SSC. This is section 2, subsection 7. So first basic concept is SSC. What is the meaning of SSC? SSC means any person who has to pay income tax or any other sum of money under Income Tax Act 1961. Now, what do we mean by any other sum of money? In any other sum of money, we may include interest, penalty, etc. That means assessee is a person who has to pay income tax or interest or penalty under Income Tax Act 1961. Now precisely we can say that an assessee has to pay income tax on these incomes. First, on his own income. Second, on the income of any other person. Third, when he is deemed to be an assessee. When he is treated as an assessee in default. Let us discuss all these things. What is the first point? First point is an assessee has to pay income tax on his own income. I think this is self-explanatory point. Every assessee has to pay income tax on his own income. It may be salary, it may be income from business profession, it may be any income. So that means every person has to pay income tax on his own income. Second one is on the income of any other person. So that means in certain cases an assessee has to pay income tax on those incomes which apparently belong to someone else. Now these are the cases which are given under clubbing of income. So and the clubbing of income is again very detailed section which I would like to take up later on. But right now you should know that in certain cases an assessee has to pay income tax on others' income. What happens in clubbing of income or when a person has to pay income tax on others' income? For instance, let us take an example. Suppose there are two parties, A and B. These are the two parties. A is having house property. He is the owner of house property. And A has given the right to B to claim a rental income arising from such house property. Now B is getting the rental income. Although house property belongs to A, but rental income is has been given to B. So B is getting the rental income although this property belongs to A. Now since this ownership of house property has not been transferred by A to B, that is why whatever rental income B is getting will be included in the taxable income of A. So this is one of the example whereby an assessee has to pay income tax on others' income. Then when he is deemed to be an assessee, in certain cases an assessee is deemed to be an assessee, he is treated as an assessee. For instance, the case of a guardian of a minor child. Guardian of a minor child is deemed to be an assessee. Or if a person is non-resident in India and he is having any legal representative in India, that person is deemed to be an assessee. So legal representative of a person who is non-resident in India is deemed to be an assessee. Fourth, last point is when he is treated as an assessee in default. Now if a person is responsible for doing any act under Income Tax Act fails to do so, he is treated as an assessee in default. For instance, I will give you one example. For instance, take the case of salaries. In case of salaries, the college authorities, they are supposed to deduct income tax on behalf of a teacher and deposit it into the government treasury. So that means college authorities, they are supposed to deduct income tax on behalf of a teacher and deposit it into the government treasury. If there is any failure, college authorities will be held responsible. They are treated as an SSC in default. So we have discussed the first definition of SSC. I think it is clear to everyone. Now let us proceed to the second definition, that is person. What is the meaning of person? This is section 2 subsection 31. So section 32 subsection 31. This is again very important term, person. What is the meaning of person? Here income tax has given an inclusive definition of the term person. Person includes the following. First one is an individual. Second one is Hindu undivided family. Third one is company. Next one is firm. Then an association of persons. Association of persons or body of individuals. Then local authority. Then lastly, every artificial juridical person. Artificial juridical person. Not falling within the categories given above. Now let us discuss all these terms one by one. First one is an individual, single person, individual, that is treated as person. Then Hindu undivided family, HUF, that is also treated as person. Company, company, it may be private limited company, public limited company, government company, any company. Then firm, partnership firm, whether limited liability partnership firm, any type of partnership firm. Then an association of persons or body of individuals. Two or more than two persons joined together, they are treated as an association of persons. So they are also treated as person. Then local authority and artificial juridical person, not falling within the categories given above. Now I will give you an example of an association of person. For instance, Hindu undivided family is stated person, but we do not have Muslim undivided family. So if two or more than two persons join together, for the construction of dam or to complete any project, they are treated as an association of persons. Or local authority, municipality, municipal board, cantonment board, they come under local authority. Then what do we include? Any artificial juridical person. Here it may include any artificial person. Artificial person means that like the case of universities, colleges, these are the examples of an artificial juridical person which do not come under any one of the above categories. So I think all these terms are familiar to you. You must have understand all these terms. Now there is a difference between SSC and person. What is the difference between SSC and person? SSC is always a person, but person may or may not be an SSC. How? SSC means any person who has to pay tax or any other sum of money. So that means SSC may be any one of these It may be individual, it may be Hindu undivided family, it may be an association of person. Clear? But person is not always required to pay income tax. So assessee is always a person, whereas person may or may not be an assessee. Clear?